Thank you, Taylor. Calling to order the Zoning Board of Adjustment Raritan meeting, November 21st, 2024. The notice of meeting, the notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act has been satisfied by the placing of a notice of this meeting on the bulletin board at the municipal building, filing same with the township clerk and transmitting same to the Raritan County Democrat, the Courier News, Star Ledger, and the Trenton Times. I'm sorry, I don't see Jackie.
Yeah, hold on.
Roll call, please.
Chairwoman, Ms. Cynthia Schaefer,
Here.
Vice Chair, Ms. Russell Domji,
Here.
Mr. Steve Farcio,
Here.
Mr. Randy Block,
Here.
Mr. Jim Ferrero,
Here.
Ms. Lindsay Cool-Brangel, here, Ms. Lorette Kratina,
Here.
Ms. Donna Drews, here, Mr. James Miller,
Here.
Board Professionals, Board Attorney, Mr. John Drill,
Here.
Township Planner, Mr. Jeffrey Vaccarella,
Here.
Board Engineer, Mr. Rakesh Darji,
Present.
Traffic Consultant, Mr. Jay Troutman, Board Planner, Ms. Jessica Caldwell, Township Landscape Architect, Mr. John Morgan Thomas,
Here.
and Board Secretary Taylor Vaughn here.
Wow, no absences. Okay. All right, moving on to the comments. 2025 reorganization meeting, conflict.
So the board normally would reorganize first Thursday of the month, but the township is not going to be reorganized by then. So the board should cancel that meeting that was set aside for the reorg and reorg on the third Thursday of the month.
So that would be January 16th.
Yeah, that means the notice, the annual meeting notice that was published last January covered the first
Yeah.
January. You're gonna have to do a special Open Public Meetings Act notice for the reorg meeting on the third Thursday in January. Then after that, we'll do an annual notice for
Everything else.
February through, and I would say, we learned our lesson. The reorg meeting that should be scheduled for 2026 should be first Thursday in January as an alternate, third Thursday in January, then we won't have to do two notices.
Okay.
Okay,
Did everyone get that? Yeah.
kind of. Okay, announcements and distribution correspondence, hearing none. Meeting minutes, we have meeting minutes from October 3rd, 2024. Does anybody have any corrections or additions? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Chairwoman, Ms. Cynthia Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Randy Block,
Yes.
Mr. Jim Ferrero,
Yes.
Ms. Lindsay Cool-Brangel. Yes. Ms. Donna Drews.
Yes.
And Mr. James Miller.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to the next meeting minutes for October 17th, 2024. Any corrections or additions? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Chairwoman, Ms. Cynthia Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Randy Block,
Yes.
Mr. Jim Ferrero,
Yes.
Ms. Lindsay Cool-Brangel.
Yes.
Ms. Lorette Kratina,
Yes.
Ms. Donna Drews.
Yes.
Mr. James Miller.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to the application for this evening, just one. BOA case number 05-2024. Applicant is Countryside Properties LLP. Location is Block 74, Lot 5.39, 359 Old York Road. Application preliminary and final site plan with D variance for proposed 3 multifamily residential buildings. Good evening, Mr. Grunberg.
Good evening, Madam Chairperson, members of the board, Stephen Gruenberg on behalf of the applicant Countryside. This is our third meeting before the board, and at the last meeting, there were 2 major issues. One was whether we had performed a water quality study, and the second was traffic. We've decided to bifurcate the application on the basis that the board had indicated that you wanted to see that water quality study done before you act on site plan. So we're going to bifurcate the application and deal with site plan and the C variance issues in the future.
Only if the board wants to be on use.
Correct, and proceed forward on the D1 use variance application.
Steve, could you just move the microphone a bit closer?
Sure.
Thank you.
The other issue is the traffic, and we supplied the board with a very detailed traffic study that has been reviewed by your traffic expert, and we have our traffic expert here this evening. So what I'd like to do is present his testimony, and then if you will recall, we kind of separated out Mr. Ingram's testimony where he completed his engineering testimony. We would then recall him to give his planning testimony on the use variance and then move forward from there. So if I could have our traffic experts on.
Can I, before we start, John, is there anything you want to say to the people in the audience? Because bifurcation is not really, just explain a little better.
So the application, the initial application that was filed by the applicant was for D1 use variance plus preliminary and final site plan approval plus a couple C variances for any exceptions. And related to site plan exceptions. I had advised the board at the last hearing that there were 4 essential elements of the development. Besides, the applicant has to address the ordinance standards. They also have to address that they have potable water for the site, stormwater drainage for the site, safe traffic circulation, and they have sewer for the site. Water, I advise the board, they couldn't prove feasibility at the last hearing session, so the board told them what they wanted them to do, and they weren't able to do it. So what the applicant has said is, based on my advice to the board, that even if the board granted the D1 variance, they were not going to be able to grant site plan approval unless they had that evidence in the water. So under the municipal land use law, there's a provision that's found at NJSA 40:D-76B. 76B says is that the developer may elect to submit a separate application requesting approval of D1 use variance. Then subsequent application can be required approval of subdivision site plan application. Separate approval of the variance shall be conditioned upon all required subsequent approvals to see variance exceptions. No such subsequent approval shall be granted unless the approval can be granted without substantial detriment to the public good and without substantial impairment to the intended purpose of the zoning board. So the statute says it's down an option of bifurcating, which is what we're doing tonight. Instead of bifurcating when they submit the application, the bifurcating tonight, legally, no problem. And in order for the board to grant a D1 variance, they have to prove special reasons. They have the planner to testify about that. And they have to satisfy the negative criteria. 2 prongs. First prong being that even if they prove the positive criterion of the D1 variance special reason, that still the board doesn't grant that the D1 variance unless they find that the applicant satisfies the 2 prongs of the negative criteria. The first one being the relief can be granted without substantial public good, and the second prong that it can be granted without substantial impairment of the intent purpose of some plan. Well, if the board grants the D1 use variance and it comes back with a bifurcated site plan, they have to prove the negative criteria with respect to that site plan, with respect to C variances and all that. So they're still going to have to prove the negative criteria. That means for anyone in the audience is questions dealing with site plan, Now, relevant to the application, it must become relevant until unless A, the board grants the variance, and B, they submit site plan with all the required information. Which, by the way, how much time, assuming that the board grants, how much time do we need to submit all the information the board is requesting in order to have a hearing on the site plan?
Yeah, I think the only issue really in terms of the feasibility of the water that was out there was compliance with the ordinance standard regarding the water quality.
Preliminary site plan. Also want final site plan approval, maybe all the details also. You guys have to decide. If I forget D1, but are you coming back? You don't have to decide tonight.
Right.
Just so you understand, if you come back showing feasibility of the water, then I'm gonna be advising them, all they could grant is preliminary site plan approval. And then final, if you want to come back to preliminary and final, you need to be able to prove water is feasible and you then need all the details. So what's the plan, and B, how much time?
The plan is to provide you with the testing in accordance with your township ordinances, and we can come back, have that done and come back within 6 months.
Preliminary or preliminary and final?
We'll deal with that at the time, because I think we might be able to go for preliminary and conditional final, but we'll deal with that at the time when we go
So
there.
what they're saying, assuming that the board grants the D1, yeah, that's hearing tonight, you have the focus on. They won't be bringing a site plan back for 6 months, and that site plan is going to do it. So it's not going to be carried to the 6 months from now. It's going to be granted those.
So what we're saying is, if we vote tonight, nothing happens. No permits, no nothing.
Correct,
So I just want everybody to understand that,
right, because you can't get a construction permit until you have final site plan.
Right.
approval. You can't get final site plan approval until you get preliminary site plan approval. They can't get preliminary site plan approval unless A, the board grants the D1 use variance tonight, and they prove that that water is used.
okay, I'm hoping that helps.
So, traffic, yes, relevant. We will do that. Water, not relevant for tonight. The C variance for where the well house was, and it was a C variance for
Underground storage tank.
underground fire storage tank. That's all going to be at the time of site plan. So the only, what's relevant tonight is the use.
Thank you.
And if
I'm
we-
sorry, Mr. Graham.
No, that's okay. Appreciate it. And if we could have our experts sworn in.
If you don't mind beforehand, I just want to state for the record that Mr. Randy Block and Mr. Jim Ferrero did read the transcript or listen to the tape recording of the last hearing in September, and they are eligible to vote if a vote occurs tonight.
Thanks, Taylor. I forgot that. Thank you. Okay, we're going to swear him in, or has he been sworn?
Okay, you identify yourself for the record.
Yes, my name is William Maisel.
Can you spell your last name?
M as in Mary, ASOL. Yeah, sure. M as in Mary, ASOL.
And it's pronounced
Maisel.
Mason. Raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you give in this matter or the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but
Yes,
the truth? You're a TE, I assume?
yes, I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state of New Jersey.
Okay, Mr. Maisel, can you please give the board the benefit of your qualifications as a traffic engineer?
Sure, I'm a graduate of Stevens Institute of Technology in 2008. I've been,
Even though Jackie's not here, go slow. If anyone needs to transfer, someone's gonna have to transcribe it. You don't have to ask, it makes it hard for the transcriber also.
okay. So I am a 2008 graduate of Stevens Institute of Technology. I've been licensed as a professional engineer in the state of New Jersey since 2013. I have spent the entirety of my career doing municipal and transportation engineering work, including preparing traffic impact studies and providing testimony before boards, including this one.
And is your license in good standing?
It is.
I offered Mr. Maisel as an expert in the field of traffic engineering.
Have you testified before other boards in the role as a
He said this one, and
Yes, I've testified before this board. I've testified before City of Hoboken. I've trying to think of the other ones I've done. I've done many.
I hate to ask, can you tell us what application was here?
Yeah, I don't remember either. Was it the Board of Adjustment or the Planning Board?
Yeah, it was the 100 concrete project.
You mean Flemington Concrete?
Okay.
207 Everett Road?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
All right.
Sorry.
Sorry, I'm not memorable.
It was very memorable testimony,
Yeah.
obviously.
All right, well, accept it. Thank you.
Can you give the board an idea of what you did to study the traffic conditions and what your evaluation was?
Yes, absolutely. So my firm, under my direction, we prepared a traffic impact report dated October 31st, 2024. And what we did to prepare that report is we started out by doing turning movement counts during the AM and PM peak hours at the intersections of Old York Road and Linton Road and Old York Road and Wells Road. From there, we also threw a automated traffic recording device on the road on Old York Road, just to verify that we did in fact have accurate peak hours. There's a general assumption that you have an AM and PM peak hours. Usually we call that 7 to 9 AM, 4 to 6 PM. The automated traffic recorder was left out for a week so that we could actually see on a day-to-day basis, were those peak hours accurate? We found that they were. We also took a look at the weekend to see if there was any additional peak that we needed to be concerned about. And we found that the weekend peak hour was indeed lower than the AM and PM peak hours on an average weekday. So we stuck with progressing our analysis, doing the AM and PM peak hours on a typical weekday. Give me 1 second here. My tablet logged me out, naturally. So from there, the general progress, the way that we prepare this report is we take a look at what are the current conditions today. Then we take a look at a projected future volume of the existing road conditions. What does that future look like if we were to not build this site at all? Then we take a look at if we built the site, what do those road conditions look like? What we found is in today, everything operates very well at both of those intersections. They are at levels of service A during the AM and PM peak hour. In the no build conditions, the way we take a look at future traffic volumes is the NJDOT has a table where we apply percentage growth rates on an annual basis that say, hey, you'll be growing at X percent year over year. We apply that to the peak hour volumes that we have today, and we get to see what it looks like up to 3 years into the future. 3 years into the future, we took those numbers, ran a traffic analysis. Once again, we saw some minor changes in the delays at the intersections, increased traffic volumes. You'd expect that, but they were minimal. Everything still operated at that level of service A during both of those peak hour periods. So then we took a look at the build conditions if we built the site. And we looked at that two different ways in this case because the site had been previously approved for that office use of 49,560 square feet. So first we wanted to see what would the impacts have been under that condition if that site would have been built out. And then we took a look also at what we're proposing today, which is obviously more relevant. It's noteworthy the office use was going to generate 75 peak hour trips in the AM peak hour.
When you're doing this testimony, can you refer everyone to the page on your charts that has that information?
Sure. You can see what the volumes for site generated traffic on page 6 of my report under the section entitled build conditions. So during the AM peak hour, that office building would have generated 75 peak hour trips. Now that's trips into the site and leaving the site. During the PM peak hour, it would have been 71 trips. And then as you'd expect on the weekend, those volumes go down. Does it account for maybe there being some activity at an office building? That number goes down to 26 trips. With senior adult multifamily housing, the 24 units that are being proposed, the AM peak hour trips goes down to 5. The PM peak hour is 6, and on a weekend, you'd be looking at 8. So you can see that's a significant decrease compared to what was previously approved there. And with such low traffic volumes, when we added those into the mix of doing that analysis, you can see on page 7, the tables that we prepared, which show you each turning movement at each intersection, what the delays look like there, and what the level of service for everything is. It still operates at levels of service A during those peak hours. So our conclusion is that the proposed development is really going to have a negligible impact on the surrounding road network. I don't think there's really anything to be concerned about.
I have a question.
Yeah, I got a few.
Related to delays,
Related to the what?
the delay, the impact, traffic delay.
Delay, okay.
So how do I read this in terms of what's acceptable? By the way, you've done a very thorough report. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So I was just curious to see what is acceptable versus what you're showing here.
Sure. So
Are you saying what sort of, with level A, your testimony was the
Yeah, what's-
approved office would be level A and the proposed housing would be level A, and what kind of delay they've
No,
had?
that's not my question. Today, right now, you guys did, both of you did that. And even today, what are the delays? And how do I understand that what's accepted?
yeah. So typically, I would start looking at a level of service, usually C or worse. What the level of service does is it basically takes the delay for the intersection and it assigns a letter grade based upon what that delay is. Kind of, for lack of a better way to put it, dumbs it down, right? A level of service C or greater, I would start paying attention to, hey, there might be some traffic issue here. We take a look at how things were degrading to then you say, all right, well, how could we potentially mitigate this if there was an unacceptable delay there? With these being such minimal delays, I think the maximum we have is Wells Road westbound.
Something.
It's like 11 and a
Yeah.
half seconds.
Yeah.
So they're really minimal delays.
And so where would it be on the grade there? Is it, you said C is bad?
Never, can you tell the board, level A means how much delay, level B
Thank you.
means how much delay, level C means what, level D means what, level F means what?
And that way also the audience understands the impact. That's what
Yeah.
I'm asking.
I'm gonna have to also ask Mr. Troutman to keep me honest here because I'm trying to remember the numbers off of the top of my head.
I
believe-
already asked Mr. Troutman to be prepared for that, so I can tell you right now.
I believe the level of service A goes up to 13 seconds, 12 seconds, something like that. The level of service B runs up to, I believe it's 20 C. Oh, thank you, Wayne. So we have a level of service A is 10 seconds, B.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Level of service A is 0 to 10 seconds, correct?
Correct.
Level of service B is what?
10 to 20 seconds.
Okay,
The level
C,
level of service C is going to be 20 to 35 seconds.
D,
The level of service D is going to be 35 to 55 seconds.
E,
A level of service E will be 55 to 85.
and what's an F?
F would be
85 and over.
85 and over.
Actually,
That's-
those are incorrect. Those are for a traffic signal
That's a signal.
control intersection. We're doing stop control, so it's lower delay threshold.
Okay, so have Wayne,
Scratch all that.
okay, so scratch that. We want, an-
There you go.
do it again.
Hold on a second.
Do it again.
Can you tell us what you're looking at?
Sure. This is basically Google search results.
No,
That's-
No, see,
Jay, tell them what he's looking at.
It's the highway capacity manual published by the Transportation Research Board that puts out the chart on what the level of service means based on the
all
delay.
right, so let me ask you a question then. I don't really want him reading anything off his phone that someone else gave him. So you're telling me that's what the standard is. Can you just tell us what the delays are so that the people in the audience know?
Yeah, I'd rather have him read those. and
He
I
should
can-
testify and then he should confirm
Yeah, well-
whether it's right or not.
Okay, that's fine. Whatever you want
Yeah.
to do.
'Cause I knew the first ones were signal. Now we're going to hear for a stop controlled intersection what they are.
For the stop controlled intersection, level of service A is less than or equal to 10 seconds. Level of service B is going to be greater than 10 seconds and less than 15 seconds. Level of service C will be greater than 15 seconds and less than 25 seconds. Level of service D, greater than 25 seconds, less than 35 seconds. Level of service E, greater than 35 seconds, but less than 50 seconds. And level of service F would be greater than 50 seconds.
Okay.
And that's all accurate with the highway capacity
All
manual.
right,
That's correct.
here's my question, though. You just read that off a phone, correct?
Correct.
Okay, not your phone?
Not my
Okay.
phone. No.
Can you just tell us what the source of that was? Can you get the phone back and just see what the source of it was? Is there a website? I want these people to know what it is.
Jay, can you,
Those are the numbers from the highway capacity manual.
I understand that. What I want to know is what site
Okay.
is he looking
and
at?
Jay, well, he's looking at that. The highway control manual, who publishes that? Is that an ITE or is that a DE?
It's a federal document published by the Transportation Research Board, the U.S. Department of Transportation.
And if you'd like the actual website, it's researchgate.net is what's putting this publicly available information in my hand right now.
You said research what?
Researchgate.net.
I have some additional questions.
No, go ahead.
So you said that this traffic study was done, for example, the stuff that you have in this book that you provided, this is all generated through the testing that's done, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and is that generated electronically? Is it manually generated? How is it generated?
In terms of the actual levels of service, the traffic counts, which piece are you speaking?
Where you get the data from, yep.
Yeah. So the traffic counts are conducted, we use a sub-consultant that actually puts a video camera up at the intersection. They then take that back and they have people in their office go back and watch that video and count the cars and say, this one's turning right, this one's turning left, so on and so forth.
Okay, so did you, and I may have heard you wrong, I just want to make sure so did you have a subcontractor go out there and do that, or is that your company?
We had a subcontractor go out there and do
Okay.
that.
And with respect to, you said it was under your direction. Tell me what you mean by that.
What I mean by that is that my staff or the subcontractor goes out, they do the work that they need to do in terms of getting the traffic counts. From there, we review the traffic counts. My staff then takes those traffic counts, puts them into a program called Synchro, which is traffic modeling software. It applies the various calculations that are outlined in that HCM manual and feeds us out those levels of service and delays.
Were you as part of these testing numbers that are in the traffic impact report, were you present at this site at any time?
While the traffic counts were being conducted?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so if not, who was there?
The sub-consultant that we used physically goes out there, they mount this traffic camera, the camera records, and then from there, that data is brought back and reviewed by their staff.
Okay, but my question is, so with respect to you yourself, you were not present at the site?
No, I was not present at the site doing traffic counts.
Okay, have you ever been to the site?
I have been to the site, yes.
Okay, but you weren't there when studies were being done?
I was not there when the traffic counts were being done.
Okay, and then you said, I just want to make sure I'm clear, you said your staff, and you said subcontractor. So are you saying that you have a staff at your company?
Yes,
Okay, and then you have a subcontractor, correct?
correct.
Okay. And the people who actually did the actual investigation, if you want to call it, is the subcontractor.
The subcontractor performed the traffic counts, yes.
All right, and then obviously they put that, you said they use a program, they put it into the system, and then it spits out the results, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, now, do you have to, because you signed this report, correct?
Correct.
So what do you do once you get those results? Do you do anything to confirm that this is actually correct?
I mean, I review it versus the traffic volumes using my judgment to say, hey, does this make sense? Absolutely.
Put it this way, did you ever,
Do I?
confirmed by watching the video. In other words, your
that's
testimony is that now, instead of putting someone out there with a pad and pencil to do the counts and to take notes on which way the cars are turning, you now put a video camera to see it, right?
That is correct.
Does that video camera have GPS?
I believe it does.
So
I
then
don't-
that would be proof of where the camera was?
Yeah.
And you verify that?
I could certainly verify that, yes.
That's part of your analysis?
Yeah.
To make sure the camera was in the right location
Absolutely.
and it wasn't somewhere else?
Yes, absolutely.
And did you ever spot check by just looking at like certain portions of the video to see if it corresponds with what the subcontractor, the data they gave you?
I do not review the videos, no.
I'm sorry, what was the last thing you said?
I do not review the videos, no.
Okay.
He
So
relies on he relies on the subcontractor.
you rely on the subcontractor and you rely on,
His staff to count?
well,
Now,
no,
the subcontract, as I understand the testimony, subcontractor sets up the video camera. It records.
Right.
Subcontractor watches the video. Subcontractor inputs the data, and that's when he sees it. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's what his testimony
Okay.
was.
here's my question. Take the subcontractor out of it. Anybody from your staff, how many staff members do you have?
In total in the entire company?
Well, you said your staff, so.
Yeah, just so you understand, you're talking about French and Perillo.
Yeah, I understand that, but
Okay.
you said your staff.
Yeah.
Do you have people who work underneath you?
Absolutely.
Okay. How many people are in your staff?
Approximately 9.
Okay. So how many of those 9 people actually went out to the site when the testing was being done?
None of my staff was at the site
Okay.
during the traffic count.
So as far as your company goes, you would agree that with respect to the testing, you have 0 manpowers at the intersection,
Correct.
okay? And with respect to the subcontractor, you said they did go out to the site, correct?
Yes.
How many people from the subcontractor, if you know, went out to the site to perform testing?
I do not know that. Typically, in instances, since the time this report was prepared, we have started to undertake setting up traffic cameras internally at French and Perillo. We typically only have one person that's needed to set that camera up.
Okay, so was this all, like, what I want to know is, do you know whether or not the subcontractor actually had people sit out there and actually investigate and see what was going on?
Yeah. I don't know if they sat there and counted cars physically, or, I mean, the typical process is what I've described to you. We more than likely could get that video for you from that subcontractor and turn it into the board if you'd like to see it.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not a traffic expert, but here's my concern, and traffic is something that I think this township has a big concern on, okay? My concern is that and look, Rizul is correct. The report is very thorough. My problem is that no one from your office, including yourself, actually went out there. You're relying on a subcontractor who's relying on video that you didn't review, but you signed this report and you submitted it to the board, which is fine if that's the process. But my concern is that you actually didn't view the video. And I'm not saying the video wasn't up there. I'm just saying that you didn't view the video. So what you're saying is that you're just relying on the subcontractor to have put the video in the right place. The video was up for the right amount of time, and that the results obviously spit out through a program. Correct?
But by your logic, I would have to do every traffic count ever performed for any report ever. I don't-
Sure, absolutely.
Into the microphone.
Is there any difference really between you having an employee stand out there and do the counts versus having a subcontractor have the video camera and doing the counts based upon the video?
No, the results would be identical.
And that would be the same thing that you would do if you had somebody out there counting, would be to rely upon that information of somebody being out in the field to do the actual counts.
Absolutely.
But that's inputted and you analyze that as part of your report. correct?
Absolutely.
And ultimately, what the findings here are is that this proposed use has less of an impact than the office use that was previously approved.
That is correct.
When you say less of an impact, are you saying that it generates less traffic in peak hours than the permitted and approved office use?
That is correct.
And that's what's shown in your chart on page 5 or 6, correct?
Yes, the chart on page 6 shows there's even a site-generated trip comparison, which directly compares those peak hour and daily volumes for the two.
So in terms of any other traffic study, whether they've been done by an employee in the field, is it common practice to rely upon somebody doing the counts either by way of video or in the field that you rely upon?
That is correct.
as
So
part
would
of the
it-
traffic?
So is it possible to then understand who the subcontractor is and his licensing and who it was? I mean, do we need that evidence?
That's up to the board on how much,
I mean, we went through this with another application where
Right.
the drone was done by somebody.
right,
and-
and we also went through this with traffic, with the person doing the traffic counts, and they looked at the day, and obviously the person would have been in the car, and it would have been dark out, but you now have the video. My suggestion is to ask Mr. Troutman, do you ever, first of all, do you use subcontractors who now use video instead of sitting there taking the counts?
Yes,
Do you ever review the video before you do one of these reports?
yes.
Okay, under what circumstances do you review the video?
If I want some more detail on what actually happened during the count, if I want to see, what kind of trucks might have been turning or just if I want to see what happened out there.
Okay,
No.
So just to follow up,
Can I ask one more question of Mr. Troutman, actually, because he reviewed this study based upon what was presented. Do you have any issues with respect to the report? Because
put it this way, his question is assuming that the traffic counts off the video are accurate. Do you have any issues with the report?
I do not.
or the way the study was conducted,
No.
that's described.
okay, and this is all, again, and this is for Mr. Troutman as well. You guys are relying on the subcontractor, but you both didn't look at the video, correct?
Well, Mr. Troutman obviously didn't. He's reviewing the
Correct.
report. Mr. Troutman testified on,
Okay.
sometimes he reviews the video.
And
Okay,
doesn't have a problem with that methodology.
but my point is this, Mr. Troutman, you didn't see a video, correct?
I didn't review the video.
Okay, you didn't ask for the video, right?
Right.
Okay, and Mr. Mazel, you didn't look at the video, correct?
I did not.
Okay, so my question is then, and by the way, if I was to look at your report again, is the subcontractor listed in your report?
Let me take a look.
No,
In the appendices, I believe the actual raw counts are there.
Yeah.
Show me where.
Yeah.
what's the name of the, where is that? What page?
Prepared by Nat.
Give me one moment and I will get that for you.
It's not in the
Yeah.
synchro. You're saying it's on the.
It's on the count reports.
Page 53.
Yeah, you have a magnifying glass? National Data and Surveying Service.
Oh, I see. Prepared by National Data and Surveying Services. Is that the subcontractor?
That is correct. They did the automated traffic recorders, and French and Perillo did the manual turning movement counts in the same method.
Wait a minute, wait.
Prepared
The
by
subcontractor
National.
used the video. You're saying that French and Perillo also used the video?
French and Perillo, yes, also used the video.
What did he ask you? You said that the only person that used the video was the subcontractor. Also someone from French and Perillo did it?
I'm saying I did not review any videos. I'm saying National Data and Surveying Services did the automated traffic recorder. French and Perillo did the turning movement counts, both using the same methodology.
French did the video and you guys put the rubber things down on the road.
Opposite way. National Data and Surveys Services.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Okay, but hold on. I asked, okay, let me ask it a different way. So there were people from your staff at the site.
They only to put the camera up. Yes.
That was my next question. The only thing they did there was put the testing stuff down, correct?
They put the camera system up.
Okay. Now, is this what you're talking about up here?
Yes.
Okay, come on.
Listen, that's his.
So just so I'm clear, and this, look, you can shake your head, you can do whatever you want, but here's the issue. You're telling me on this page, I'm supposed to be able to read at the very top where I can't read that. Someone's gonna have to read that.
Listen, if
to
you
me.
use a magnifying glass, you can.
I don't even have readers that can read that.
Prepared by National Data and Surveying Services.
Again, it's a traffic count that I read from in the very, very, very small print at the top of the page.
All right, so I just,
Oh,
The traffic count, you see the part right over there? I read it. It says prepared by National Data and Surveying Services. I have good eyesight when I'm wearing my glasses.
So one more item, and that's for you, Jay. So I could not read that detail either, what Steve is talking about. How do you correlate traffic counts in this report with what you're showing here?
So my report summarizes the data that National Data and Surveying Services collected.
So that thing which Steve showed you, summarize that to this, is that correct?
Yes, I went through the reports in detail and I pulled out the peak hours and wanted to provide a summary chart that we could discuss, just so we could see what the peak hours are, what the magnitude of the volumes was.
But you didn't do any independent study by yourself?
No,
And just-
Can we see- wait, wait, wait.
we didn't ask him to. We asked him
No.
to review the report.
Yes.
He
I
did what he was supposed to
I
do.
agree.
wait, I want to circle back, make sure, okay. So we qualified you, okay. So what we're asking is, when you did the traffic study, it was you or your representative of your office that went out to the site and set up the video camera and put the thing in the road, correct?
Not the strips across the road. That
Not
was
the
our
strips across-
sub-consultant.
Just the video camera,
Just the video camera was done by French and Pearl.
okay. And that was done by the contractor.
But here's the bottom
So
line.
when you set, so when the video was set up, okay, I'm assuming, okay, that they're there together. Maybe that's a bad assumption. You set up the video, somebody sets up the video at the same time somebody's putting the stuff down. Is that true?
They were not done at the same time. The turning movement counts, and you can find this information on page 3 of the report.
Okay,
The turning movement counts were done on Wednesday, October 16th. That is when that camera was up. And the automated traffic recording device was set up from Tuesday, October 15th through Monday, October 21st.
okay. So from the camera, anybody who viewed the camera, could they see the line, the strip in the road?
That I do not know. We set up the automated traffic recording device between the two intersections that were counted. Typically, the actual camera would not capture that far down the road.
So there's no correlation between what you see on the camera and the count?
There-
Could-
I mean, assuming that a car were to progress over those strips to the next intersection.
Well, I guess I'm trying
mean, yeah.
to, I guess I'm trying to, if someone was looking at the video, and somebody did, okay, to verify the count. So I'm looking at the video, a car passes up and the count goes up. I'm pretty sure that if I'm watching a video and the count goes up at the same time I'm watching the car, that line in the road is somewhere. So if I watch it enough, I'm like, okay, I saw 5 cars, 1 a minute apart, 2 right next to, I could verify visually that the camera and the strip in the road are in sync.
Yeah,
And yet you'd have one day on October 16th, right? That is when that's when FPA conducted the vehicular turning movement counts. This is on page 3 of his report. They said from 7 a.m. until 9 a.m. and from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Wednesday, October 16th. And those results are in Appendix B. The subcontractor took the video from Tuesday, October 15, all the way through Monday, October 21. So there was one day where you could correlate the video to the traffic counts. October 16th would be the day. So that's one way you could correlate it. But this whole thing boils down to what level of comfort does the board want? If this is an accepted way of doing it, it doesn't mean you have to accept it. If you wanted to get something from the subcontractor, or if you wanted him, you could say, well, can you look at the video to confirm it? Or you could say, give the video to Jay. It's up to the board. I'm not telling you that there's a right or a wrong way to do it. What they're testifying is, this is the normal method they do it these days. Mr. Troutman's going to say, yeah, his office does the same thing. They no longer use manual people out there doing the counts, maybe for some of the reasons that happened in that other case, but now apparently they use subcontractors who do the video.
Yeah, I'm not, I have no problem with subcontractors. What my concern is, it's open to,
No, I understand. So that's why I'm saying it's up to you. What level of comfort or proof do you want?
and I guess because of a previous application, we all have a little bit.
Everyone's skittish. I understand.
Yeah, we're
So
skittish.
do you want this expert to look at the video and confirm it? Do you want Jay to look at the video and confirm it? Or do you want a subcontractor to bring the guy in and have him testify about it? Or do you want to accept how they presented it? Those are four options that I'm saying.
And can I,
I'm gonna give you another option, which is if this was a concern of C to F, and you had some real concerns about the accuracy of the study, but this is the evaluation of A and B service. And
Steve,
Here-
that's according to the results.
Yeah, that's, but here's the thing, Steve, Steve. I agree. What you're proposing here is a lot less traffic, okay? I agree, okay?
And she can agree based on the ITE manual,
Yeah,
which we can take
Yeah.
judicial notice of.
but the previous application, the citizen did a better job and came in and it was more believable. So
I was involved in that application and I cross-examined that expert. And there was a major credibility issue.
yeah, so, and I know
That
because we have that now, we're grilling you or,
What she's saying
That's
is,
why you guys are there.
it's the attorney's
Get it.
fault because
yeah.
he grilled the traffic expert in the other case.
However, this is a different application.
I understand.
completely
So is there any
different.
way we can
Yeah, but
take
now you
additional
represent the
steps?
applicant and not the
Is
objector.
there
We
any way,
understand.
additional steps that we can take and prove it? Is it worth it to ask somebody from his office who's qualified, or himself or Jay, to look at the video and say, yes, with my expertise, this is what happens? I don't know. I'm just
Why don't
asking.
you straw poll everyone and see how they feel about it? Maybe some people are willing to accept this like this. Certain people are gonna probably want a little more. Why don't you straw poll and see where you are?
John, can I just correct the record on one thing? too?
Yes.
If you inspect the data summary reports, it appears that they actually had video out there on 2 separate days, because
Oh,
one
only
of,
2?
yeah, one of the intersections
Mm.
was collected on Thursday, October 17th, which I said in my report.
Well, that's,
And the other intersection was collected on Wednesday, October 16th. So you actually
so
had
page
2,
3 is wrong. Page
Yeah.
3 of the report is wrong.
according to the data reports in the back, yes.
All right, we want to do.
Thank you for that, Jay.
So if it's wrong, what do we do?
Why don't you straw poll yourselves on, do you want either this witness or Jay to look at the video to confirm the stuff in the appendix? He's going to have to correct page 3 regardless.
All right, before we do that, Jay, okay? You are our expert, okay? You're hearing what we're saying. What would you recommend?
On your behalf, what I did was I charted the Thursday data, the Wednesday data, and the full week's worth of data, because you can check against each other to make sure it's all consistent. So you have Wednesday data, and then right down the block, you have Thursday data. Does it match? Yes, it does. And then you have a hose right in between. Does that hose match both ends? Yes, it does. So you can, with all this data we have, you can affirm that there's nothing off in terms of the data. Because you have multiple data points to compare, multiple intersections where you can add up the movements and check them against the other ones. And that's what I do.
Okay, but that's based off of the data that was generated from the subcontractor, correct?
Correct.
But it's not, it's also based upon
Microphone,
the automatic.
Microphone,
microphone.
Microphone.
It's not just the observations, but you're comparing that to what the typical, the line in the road, correct?
Right. We have three different sources to check for consistency. Now, the one last thing you could do is actually look at the video and then you can see that the camera is at the intersection. When you look at the video, you'll know you're at the right intersection.
so you're saying we can match it to the videos?
Yeah.
Okay, and who would do that? Would you ask the applicant or would you?
Well, yeah. Who does the board want to do that? Don't ask Jay that. Who does the board want to do that if you?
I hate to say it right now, I think our professional. You know, I hate to say it, you know, and it's, again,
It's, just so you understand, it's nothing that you said in your testimony that had this reaction.
Hey,
This is
you guys are
based
doing
on
your job. I understand where you're coming
experience
from.
in two other cases, but
So-
one
so we
especially
can-
dealing with
we can
traffic.
match the
I can
multiple
provide those
points,
videos to Mr. Troutman if that is.
and you can look at the videos and
Confirmed.
Yes.
you can look at the videos.
And I go out there too. I always do a site investigation and watch the traffic myself. And that's the other way I can check when the numbers come back. Is that consistent with the level of traffic I saw when I was out there during the afternoon peak hours when I went, which is higher in the morning?
Okay,
We're happy to provide those videos to Mr. Troutman.
okay,
I just do want to say though, that this scenario is different than what
Yeah.
we had before. Because that, and I'm going to compare it because you had major credibility issues of somebody who testified that he didn't notice any increase in traffic in Raritan Township, and that caused the board to say, whoa, we don't trust.
I hate
what
to
this
say it,
person is
one
saying."
bad apple in a profession kind of
But wait a
taints
second.
us,
Right.
you know.
And, but if we get to this level of investigation as to subcontractors and employees on every traffic study,
I got a question.
it could bog you down.
No, it won't bog you down. If they say that they want their traffic guy and all future applications to check the videotape, to check the report, it's not going to bog anything down. It's just one more thing he's going to do.
Well, it bogs this application down because.
Well, it's bogging this application down because no one knew, well, I didn't know that the issue was going to come up. Okay, but it came up. That's what the hearing's about.
Let me ask a different question, and let me just see what Mr. Grunberg would say about this. Let's just say that the other applicant that you're talking about came in with this book like this, which he didn't, by the way. He didn't.
Yeah.
His report was bad, okay? But let's just say he came in with this. And he said in front of a packed room and said, hey, you know what? I had 0 man hours there. My staff was there for 2 seconds. That's a little exaggeration. We had a subcontractor. They looked at the video, they spit out the results, and this is what it came out to. And oh, by the way, I signed the report. I didn't look at the videos. Would you be happy with that?
I would have to.
No, hold on.
rely
I'm
upon-
asking you a question.
I'm answering your question. And by answering the question is, your board engineer, your board traffic expert said he could take the data that was compiled, not only from the observations of the
I'm
videotape,
not answering the question.
but from the
Steve.
tape on the ground and correlate it. So
Steve,
I think that you can rely upon that as a.
okay, so
board.
I want to be you didn't answer my question. So that's fine. You can answer it that way, but that's not answering my question.
All right, so I think we should take a poll.
Yeah, straw poll. The straw poll is, do you want Mr. Troutman to review the videotape to verify the appendices in the report are correct?
And will that satisfy you?
Yeah, well,
Or is there
that's
something else that that you want to propose?
right.
James first.
I don't think it's necessary at all, to be honest, because I
Okay.
find nothing to doubt about the witness or their testimony or the data, because as Jay Troutman said, this is what he does.
Okay,
So I don't think any of this is necessary.
okay. Donna?
I agree. I think at this point, the numbers and the level of service different is so de minimis. However, the applicant really needs to not, there's some issues of sloppiness
Yeah, okay.
in their data and reports that we should have clean copies.
Right, okay.
Lorette,
Yes, I concur with James and also Donna.
okay. Jim?
I'm just concerned it might be an overkill situation of this traffic.
Okay.
Quite frankly, bad experience in the past doesn't necessarily mean we're gonna have
Okay.
bad experience every time we get it.
So where are you on this? Yes, you want him to review the video or no?
No.
No, okay.
Brandy?
No, I agree with my colleagues.
I'm gonna say yes.
Yep.
I'm going to say yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna say no.
Okay. So we don't.
Okay, so hold on. It's not that simple. It's not that simple because there only can be 7. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the 2 alternates, we're going to straw poll without the alternates. Start with Lorette,
No,
Jim,
No.
Randy,
No.
Steve,
Yes.
Cynthia,
Yes.
and Rasul, yes. No. So you would only have 4.
We're going to provide the video
Okay.
for review, Mr. Troutman.
My suggestion is, let's, assuming that the video confirms it, because if the video doesn't confirm it, it's one thing, but assuming that it's confirmed, will the board accept a letter from Mr. Troutman saying, yes, it's confirmed? So assuming that you got a letter saying, yes, it's confirmed, is the traffic report, if they correct on page 3, the actual dates, acceptable on the traffic issue? Because if it is, let's keep on going tonight and let's get to the planning testimony. And what I can do is, if you get to the point where there would be a grant, we would just hold off the resolution until we get a confirmation. If it comes back no, obviously that would change everything, but you don't have to do this. You could just say no, come back.
We're going to have to come back because the public gets to ask questions about traffic. And before we present our planning
Okay.
testimony, we need to resolve the.
Okay, they've made it easy.
Okay. All right, so are we at a point where the witness is done testifying and we open it up?
Well, is there anything else that the witness,
I think we need to have Mr. Troutman review the videotape, come back, present any questions and finish our traffic testimony.
could you-
Then open it. to
could
the
you also
public.
correct this? Correct
Yes.
page 3.
Okay, so what we're saying here, we're not opening it up.
Right.
Yeah.
You're gonna go away and come back on the traffic.
And I would like to get a copy of the video for the board file, just in case someone from the public wants to come in and watch the video.
Because it's better.
All right, I got you.
Then they open it up and repeat what we're doing. Okay,
So if that's the case, we need a date.
Jay, how long will it take you?
I can get it done by any date you pick.
By what?
I can get it done by any
Okay,
meeting date you
He can
pick.
do it the day he gets the video, unless it's at 5 o'clock, he can do it.
okay.
Now, they've granted an extension until January 31, 2025. What are our next available dates?
Well, our first meeting will be, wait, 1, 2, 3, January 18th, which would also be our reorg.
Yeah, that's all right. Now, is there anything else that's going to be scheduled that night other than the reorg?
I don't have anything.
Well, that's perfect.
You gotta pick a chairman.
Jeffrey, no,
Yeah,
who?
Can you guys make January 18th? That's the reorg meeting,
I
and
think it's
again,
the 16th, John.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
a Saturday.
Definitely not coming.
what's the January date?
Wait, what? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at 2024. Yes, it's the 16th, I'm sorry,
Okay.
16th.
Can you guys make January 16th? It's the reorg meeting and,
Yeah, I could.
We're good.
okay, so
Is it easier for you?
let's get an extension now, just for safety purposes, but now we're getting into snow season, although I hope we don't have any. Can we get an extension to March 31?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to make an announcement. The hearing in this matter is going to be once again continued, this time to January 16th, 2025. That's going to be the board's first meeting in 2025. No need for further notice. You're not getting any notices, but obviously, if you're interested in the application, plan on being here.
Thank you. Wishing everybody a very happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You
Thank
too.
Sorry for that. Thank you. Well,
Okay, so before we adjourn, hold on. John?
You want to ask John?
Please.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a suggestion that since the evening is young, there's a couple more personnel matters that should be discussed. So I'd like to make a suggestion the board go into closed session to discuss personnel. That's an exception to the Open Public Meetings Act. And the other professionals, if you want to go home, go home.
All right, who's gonna make that motion?
What?
I'll make the motion.
All right, Steve and Randy. All right, people, just give me a couple minutes just to close everything up and we'll get it going.
Okay.
We just